Bullshit of Trump calling Warren Pocahontas really is, he sounds like an asshole. He just sounds like a jerk, and then he does it in front of, you know, Navajos. It's obnoxious at the very least. It's clearly racist. It'd be like if he kept calling Sarah Huckabee Sanders, "Hey, Susan B. Anthony, how you doing?" Because Susan B. Anthony is fat, and see what I'm saying? It'd be like you're giving the person shit. It's ridiculous. Now, Elizabeth Warren didn't get anything out of saying that, you know, she heard from her family that they had Native American in them. She didn't get anything out of this. That's the whole premise of this genealogy business, is most people don't really know what their genealogy is because there's lies. There's lies for whatever reason. Meaning, my family, my mother's father, Choctaw. As I was growing up, I thought he had like African American in him. That's what I thought. I would look at him and I'd be like, man, he looks like a really light-skinned black man. That's what I thought. So I always thought that there was African in us. And my mom looked like Donna Summer. Somebody told my mother that, and my mother was just, it really affected her in a negative way. My mother looked very ethnic, and it was always a problem for her. Her mother, English, very small nose, thin lips, a very, you know, kind of classically beautiful woman. My mother was attractive, but she looked ethnic. But it fucked my mom up because my mom didn't look like a Barbie doll. So the whole deal with Roythorpe was that he lied. They lied about Roy, and he never, you know, said, yeah, I'm Choctaw. He was trying to go into business. At first, he had a pool hall, which, you know, there was gambling, essentially. And I think it was illegal gambling. It was in Missouri. And so he had this pool hall, and that's how he, you know, got his seed money to start the lumber company. Was that he had this pool hall, and he also gambled. He played cards. So, I didn't live in his times. You know, I wasn't alive in 1920, where you don't go around saying that you're Native American. Now, do you see what I'm saying? So he tried to pass himself off as Irish. And that's what a lot of people did. And you'll hear this term Black Irish, and Black Irish is a term that, just so everybody knows, that non-whites used to pass themselves off as whites. And the most common one was Native Americans. And Native Americans, a lot of times they adopt these names, these last names that are Irish. It was better to be Irish than it was to be Native American. And that's how it was. When my family was moved to the Oklahoma Territories, when my mom's side of the family was moved to the Oklahoma Territories, the Tharp company, or the family started a company by selling their property that they got from the government, and then started a like carting business, like a sort of taxi business, or like they would move stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they would move people or move, you know, heavy items, stuff like that, and that's what they started. Then they moved into Missouri. They made some money, and then anyway, do you understand? Like on my family, you know, it'd be like, well, we're white, okay? And then say I ran for office, and then somebody said, well, you've been lying. You've been lying. We found out that you're native. It's the same thing. It's sort of the same thing. Oh, so then what would Trump call me? Like, what would he call me? Abe Lincoln or something? White boy? Do you see the point? Who fucking cares? Who cares what anybody is? Elizabeth Warren's she's a human, and she's polite. She's not going around saying stupid shit to people like our president. Our president is an embarrassment. He's an embarrassment. For him to do that in front of those Navajo people that are... For him to have the Navajo people there and doing the ceremony in front of Andrew Jackson's portrait was just a slap in the face to begin with. And then him trying to do shtick... It's appalling. It's appalling. Trump, you're not a comedian. He's not a comedian, okay? Al Franken, I don't think would do that. And I know there's been a lot of shit about Al Franken in the news, but the whole Al Franken thing just seems ridiculous. It does. It seems ridiculous. You know? Come on. Come in Tokyo. That is just fucking ridiculous. He wasn't touching the woman. Did he ask to do that? Was that shtick that was like okayed with her? No, it sounds more like it was a joke. Well, when she gets home, she'll see the picture. Right? So it's sort of in poor taste, but as a comedian myself, I don't always say things that are appropriate. Some things bomb flat. Sometimes you do something and it's a total bomb. That was a bomb, because it was, you know, she didn't get the joke. It wasn't funny. It was very sophomoric. But would Al Franken do something like that? Say something racist on the fucking world stage? No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't. None of our senators would do what Trump does. It's absurd that you all voted for this man. It's absurd that he's in that office. It's absurd that he's got so many racial issues. You realize that his family were passing themselves off as Swedish. They were passing themselves off as Swedish so that they had an easier time selling and renting to Jewish people. That's a fact. It's a fact. He's German. Trump is German. So he does the exact same thing that many families did. In other words, my grandfather passing himself off as a white man. He did that for a reason. It was related to business, just like Trump saying, the Trump family saying that they were Swedish. And whatever reason, I mean, we don't really know. Elizabeth Warren should do a DNA test. She might have Native American blood in her. You know, it's like shit will come back from those things and people are like, I didn't know that I was, you know, Sephardic Jew. Shit like that. You don't know. It's so absurd that he can't keep his mouth shut. He's so inappropriate and so... What is even more absurd... Oh, I'm doing this. Come in Tokyo. What is even more absurd is that people voted. People voted for this man that are poor. A man that shits on golden toilets. You voted for a fucking billionaire that wants to spend $120,000 on a gold fucking chair. A braggart. He just walks around bragging about himself and making up lies. He clearly can't keep his mouth shut and says fucking racist shit. He is not better than you. He is not better than me. He is not a good person, okay? Get that in your head. And you, the people that are the super religious people, you know, that voted for him, you voted for some guy that, you know, goes around saying, I grab him by the pussy and I assault women and get away with it. But that's okay, isn't it? What is it? Because, so you're religious, you go to church, but it's all about fucking money with you? Is that what it's about? You think that Trump is going to put more money in your pocket, so you let the guy that's pretty much fucking bad and evil in the office just to better... That's not the Christian way, is it? But you don't care because you're a hypocrite. A bunch of hypocrites voted for this man, and this is not a good person. You go a couple fucking generations back, God only knows what the... People lied. Do you get it? People lied for a reason. Usually it had to do with business, like Trump's family, my family, you know? It's really no big deal, this Elizabeth Warren thing. He should shut up. He's a fucking asshole. I hope and pray that Flynn is fucking flipping on this guy. I do. I hope that they have, you know, some kind of thing over, you know, Mike Flynn, so that, I almost say Finn, because I have a dog here named Finn, but that they have something over Finn, that he's going to tell the truth about what happened with Trump and that Trump campaign. This guy is not a good I keep doing this. Come in Tokyo after talking about Al Franken. Seriously, that picture, he wasn't touching her, okay? There was a camera person, there was a professional photographer there when he was doing that, by the way. It's fucking ridiculous. Pocahontas, give me a fucking break. See, I'm doing it again. Now, oh, by the way, a friend of mine says it's Tune In Tokyo, but as a kid, I always knew it as Come In Tokyo. I think it's Come In Tokyo, but he says Tune In Tokyo. You know, who knows? But Trump's an asshole.